Hey True Believers, Chris Mack coming at you with another awesome figure review set. Today we are going over the Marvel Legends Strong Guy Build-A-Figure Wave Deadpool and Shiklah with the added bonus of Jeff the Land Shark, which we'll get into their backstories here in a minute. But as you can see, the figures in their packaging look awesome. They're both part of they put Deadpool wave on this one. The Strong Guy wave was weird. I kind of wish they would have stuck with an X Factor theme, but you know, we had X-Force members. We've had Wolverine figures from like Maverick, and we had Black Tom Cassidy, which was kind of random, and each one kind of had their own little imprint here. So these are from the Deadpool comics. If you want to pick these figures up, I noticed that Shiklah is still available on Big Bad Toy Store. However, Pirate Deadpool, from what I saw, is nigh impossible. So for him and her, first and foremost, please check with your local comic shop and see if anyone's traded them in, because I've not seen these two at Walmart in a minute to try to be hip. But nonetheless, I would say if not, then go ahead and check the secondary market for the Pirate Deadpool, because I even checked Hasbro Pulse, sold out. Now let's go ahead and start with him on his packaging. We'll come back to Shiklah here in a minute. As you see, it says Deadpool, has the spot varnished Deadpool there, Strong Guy on the side. Come around, and I like this little art rendition they did here. Very cool stuff. And just like I say with all the Marvel Legends I go over, if you guys know the artists that do these, please let me know, because I'd love to follow them and maybe pick up some of their prints. Come around to the back, get the cool product shot, plus the read-up, so I'll make sure to get a close-up of that so you can read at your convenience. Same with the figures from the wave that you need to complete Strong Guy. Come around to the side, same awesome looking product shot, like how it says DP on the chest there. We'll get into that again as in a second. Nothing on the bottom. So with that said, let's go over Shiklah. So of course, Marvel Legends, Deadpool, Shiklah, Strong Guy, same Deadpool varnish there. Very cool. Come around, and then I like how, you know, they did her piece here. She looks creepy and whatnot because she was supposed to be the bride of Dracula. And then I like how Jeff here just kind of photobombs the whole image. That just makes me laugh a lot. Or it makes me LOL. Then you get the product shot, read up, so I'll get a pause for that. Same thing with the figures from the wave again. Come around to the side, same funny. It makes me laugh every time. You come back around to the front, nothing on the bottom. So, with that said, after we've gone over how they look cool in their packaging and whatnot, are these figures any good? So let's get them out and get a closer look at all three of these cool designs. And here's everyone out of their packaging. And when you put them together like this, they look epic. Maybe, you know, if you separated them and you bought just like, say, Deadpool or Shiklah, I don't think you get this type of dynamicness, since these two were a married couple for a while. And sadly, from what I understand, Deadpool messed that up. We'll get into that in a minute. But, you know, you put Jeff the Land Shark down there. You have our Pirate Deadpool. We have our evil vampiric sorceress lady, and I don't know, there's just like this awesome creepiness about it, and that's why I had to kind of get her embracing Deadpool. I had to have Jeff just chilling there on the stand, and they just look great. I'm excited to go over these figures. Now, forewarning, there is really a lot to love, but there are a few things that are just gonna drive you up the wall and super frost you. So with that said, let's get them off the stand and I'll explain more in depth. Here are our characters out of the packaging, and for the most part, I think they look great, as I feel these two really merge well together. Individually, I don't know. I just think put them together like this is the best way, especially with Jeff the Land Shark. Though one thing I don't understand is he has more of a tie to Gwenpool, as where Shiklah has her own pet named Bug, which is kind of a demon-looking thing. So I'm kind of a little dumbfounded that they put him in there. I guess they did it for the cute factor, which, if that's the case, whatever. It's a welcome addition. Now, before we get into the paint apps and all that good stuff, let's talk about the backstory of these characters. The first appearance of Deadpool in this outfit was in Deadpool Volume 4, number 14 from August 2009. We've already gone over his full backstory with the X-Men version that we did, so make sure to check out that video. I'll throw a card up here somewhere for you guys to check that out. Now, in this series, it's kind of weird because Deadpool buys a tugboat and turns it into a pirate ship to plunder this exclusive resort island called Jakara or Jalarka. I can't pronounce it correctly. Feel free to make fun of me down in the comments. But that's kind of the arc of that. It happens in 13 and 14, which I may pick up because the panels that I did see are quite intense. Now for Shiklah, her first appearance was Deadpool, the Gauntlet Infinite Comics #3 from January 2014. What happens is Shiklah, way back when, was put in this casket from her father to protect them from the vampires, because it's kind of like a demon vampire type deal. And Dracula wants to marry her. And so Deadpool is contracted by Dracula to bring her to him. Her casket is broken open, and you get to find out how she's this demon succubus. And even though one of her powers is to look seductive and sexual for men, and when you see her true form, it's quite terrifying. What happens is the marriage doesn't happen. She kind of falls for Deadpool, and they eventually get married by Nightcrawler, of all people, in Deadpool Volume 5, number 27 from April of 2014. The story doesn't end there. There's some more heartbreak, so make sure to read Deadpool Till Death Do Us event. I'm actually thinking about picking it up because I kind of got invested in looking the backstory of Shiklah up, and I'm starting to kind of like her as a character more and more, because I've never read anything with her. So now the more I am, I'm like, hey, some more stuff to read. Speaking of, now Jeff the Land Shark. He was part of an experiment that gave legs to sharks so they could walk on land. Why you'd want to do that, I have no idea. But the first appearance was West Coast Avengers, Volume 3, number 7 from January 2019. He was adopted by Gwenpool during her time on the team. And down the road, and this is where I don't know where the issue happened, let me know down in the comments for those that do know more about his story, but Gwen gives him to Deadpool because she's doubts that she's going to have any more solo series, because she was always more of a meta character. So that's all the backstory of these characters. Now for accessories, Shiklah comes with Jeff the Land Shark, so we'll go ahead and start with him. And you know, he's cute. I'm not gonna bash that. He's an adorable looking little guy, reminds me of my puppy. And you know, the grays look good, whites look good, those black pupils. And then I like that even though the shark's, you know, supposed to have like that terrible teeth, like Jaws, they do enough to make it look like a smile. I do wish that, even though this is an accessory, I wish they would have made his legs articulated so you could do different like running poses, like nipping at someone's heels, or at least the mouth. You can't even open the mouth, but nonetheless, it's a welcome accessory. I'm content with it. It looks like a shark, it smells like a shark, so it must be a shark. Yes, I sniffed it. None of y'all's business. But anyway, that's Jeff the Land Shark. Now for Deadpool, my favorite accessory that he comes with is the Pirate Blunderbuss. You know, it looks like an old school flintlock pistol. The browns in there make it look good. Silver has that gunmetal gray sort of. And of course, you see the little flintlock there. So overall, I think that's a nice looking piece, even though I kind of wish they would have put this on both sides to make it like a one piece. But then again, the old blunderbuss and all that stuff was always on one side, which you can see here. So that's an awesome accessory. And then of course, it comes with his standard Deadpool katana. So a majority of all the Deadpools that we've bought have the blade, so you know, looks good. Silver, black hilt, looks nice. That's all I gotta say about that. I'm also excited that he came with a pirate sword. Now, the one reason that I'm excited about this is not so much for the Deadpool character, but the fact that the Nightcrawler that was part of the Wendigo wave, they only gave him one. Now I have two, and didn't have to buy a second Nightcrawler. So now I can get some very cool debonair pirate shots with a Nightcrawler and try to wrap this sword in his tail. So I'm excited. The gold looks good, silver looks good, and those are all the accessories. So I'm kind of glad that, you know, sometimes when they do a build-a-figure wave, in this case, you know, Strong Guy was huge, but I'm glad that they at least took the time to give them some accessories. So now let's look at the paint apps. We'll start with Deadpool here. I love love this hat. You know, you get the good little Jolly Roger, not Jolly Rancher. It's not a candy, Ryan. Anyway, yeah, so the Jolly Roger there looks good. I like that the hat is seeing some battle damage. And of course he has the white pirate do-rag, has his mask, so kind of at least get that classic Deadpool look there. Like, you come around to his back and actually make sure to make the bandana come out the back. I like the hat continues all the way around looking torn instead of just like, oh, it's the back, doesn't matter. I like this cape. If you take his head off, this does come off, so if you don't want to mess with this, you can pop it off, and I'm glad it doesn't come with that stupid plug. They just let it flap in the wind, so that's very exciting. And of course, I like how, to match the do-rag, they do have that little, I don't know what they called that back in the day when they had those little puffs coming out of your jacket. I don't know what those are called. Let me know if y'all know. But anyway, on the coat itself, I like all the battle damage again, all nice and tattered and torn. Looks good. You know, you get some cool shots, make it look like Jeff tore it up on him. The other thing I really like about this Deadpool is right here on his chest, that gold DP. I think that looks nice. It really adds to the buttoning up of his shirt there. Like the strap. Make sure you have the nice gold, and then of course it has a little bit of weathering on it. So that's just a nice little addition. The one thing here that drive me nuts is these pistols here do not come out. So I kind of wish that instead of giving us these pistols that won't come out, I wish they would have given us storage right here, because he does have storage. We'll talk about that real quick. He has these two little slots for his katanas, which is a welcome addition. Like I said, whenever you get accessories, they always like that, you know, they make it a point for storage. But the problem is it's only 2 ports. So once you put a sword in another one, it's kind of an either-or situation. So if you're careful, you can kind of fit the blunderbuss in there, but then that still leaves us with nowhere for this sword. So I kind of wish that maybe got 2 pistols and we could have put them in the front. It is what it is. But at least you have the storage option. But anyway, I like how they give him that little bustier belt, the white. It's cool, nice and frizzy. Very piratey, like Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean. Good stuff there. I like the black here on the arms to just kind of match the cape. Red all the way looks good. I like that he gets a captain, or, you know, pirate's glove. The design on it, I think, looks very, very fancy. So that's a nice addition. And of course, red hand there. Now, the one thing with these Deadpools, and it seems like every Deadpool that I buy, he comes with all these cool accessories. And let me know if you guys have this problem. But you put his katanas in either hand, and they go, but they're always loose. What is that, Hasbro? I mean, come on, that is some Deadpool right there, I tell you what. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. Light the gold all the way down the coat, which I think you call this a petticoat. I'm not very versed in maritime sayings, so for those of you that are, please help me out, because I'm just kind of flubbing all the way through. But that gold all the way looks nice. I kind of wish they would have kept the trim all the way through. I think that would have been fancy, but at least we get it here, and I'm sure they probably had, time stipulations and budgeting. And of course, the red, it's all red through, just like his outfit. So nothing else to really talk about there, except I like that they made sure to keep the musculature on the legs so it looks anatomically correct. So overall, good paint apps on this Deadpool. I didn't think I was going to like having another Deadpool character, especially just a random one like this, but it looks beautiful. Now, speaking of beautiful, Shiklah, like I said, one of her powers is she's supposed to be seductive to both men and women. And if you look at her in the comics, you know, you're just like, wow, they did a really good job of making her look alluring. But the figure, not so much. I mean, she has some good stuff. I mean, I like the purple eye paint. Love the gold eyes. You know, I mean, they made sure to, I'm trying to get as close as I can, guys, sorry. They made sure to really make it look like she has those bedroom eyes at you. The purple lipstick looks nice. I like that pale purple to offset the darkness on her eyes. Like the gold headband. Like the little hairpin Looks good, kind of looks like a bat, so you kind of get that gothness going on. The nice, long, black flowing hair looks good, so nothing to complain about there. It's just the rest of the body looks kind of wonky. Like, you know, for a lot of these female figures, I kind of wish that they just make them look I don't know. It looks a little off to me. So it's just a personal opinion. I like those gold earrings on her ears. I didn't see that one the first time I took her out of the pack, so those look good. I'm glad that the necklace is loose, so whenever you want to move her about, you know, you can kind of do different things, or if you make it look like she gets hit, then, you know, you can make it look flying like she's in battle, or, you know, just however you want to make it look, because usually when stuff's kind of stuck, you know, painted on, you don't get a whole lot of options. I like the gold here along the chest, black. The purple looks good. The design work, though, here, I will say, is really nice. It's supposed to be kind of like the skulls all the way through, so very hot topic-y, but nonetheless looks cool. I'm glad that the belt's loose again, too, so you can get different options for posing. The black that matches the chest here with the gold rings looks good. Hands look good. The only frustrating thing here, though, is she only gets this set of hands, so you're kind of limited, like if you want to have her have a punching fist or whatnot. But if you put some effects on there, like maybe some Scarlet Witch ones or whatever, that's going to look cool, even though her powers are purple and Wanda's are pink. You guys can be creative. Again, black and gold just looks really nice. The only thing about it that I hate are these heels. Trying to get the female characters with just the normal high heels to stand is such a pain in the ass. I'd rather just be one solid piece like the Lady Deathstrike that we went over. And speaking of, I'm glad that with the Lady Deathstrike, and I hope that starts to become a thing where you don't see these pin joints, because that is irritating. The cape is nice. This looks kind of like a redo of Storm's. If you guys ever bought the 80th anniversary Storm, hers was white, but I like how this is black. And you have those gold rings all the way through, just like in the comics, so very comic book accurate. Just, I don't know, there's something about it that just makes the whole body in and of itself look kind of wonky and stiff. I don't know, but nonetheless, it's a welcome addition, and like I said, the more that I get to know this character, the more I want to read about her, so I'm going to have to go check out that Till Death Do Us, and maybe break down and read the Deadpool Infinity Gauntlet. Let me know if you guys have read it down in the comments. But as I just stated, all the paint apps at least look really nice for the most part. There's not any real splotching. And then, of course, you know, Jeff in there looking good. So I'm excited. These look good. For articulation, they are relatively bendy. So let's go ahead and jump into it. As I said, Jeff the Baby Shark isn't articulated, so we're not going to have any segment with him. So sorry, folks. But we're going to go ahead and start with Mr. DP here. And as I was mentioning in the paint apps, you know, this cape, thankfully, is movable. And it doesn't really hinder the head all that much. You can look down that much, and even with it, that far, which is awesome. You can go that far, arms like that, or like that. 360, and of course the cape is pliable, so you can go full 360 there. Upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrists can go 360. They do move up and down, not so much on the gloved hand, but on the free hand, they move a lot better. You can twist that much that way, that much that way. I'm glad that all these little items that they put on him, the guns, the Cavalier belt, or whatever you want to call that thing, and the cape do not hinder articulation at all. He can go down on the ab crunch about that much. And that's another thing, I'm kind of glad, I think it's from the waist is where he bends, because every once in a while with these figures you get tired of where you see the ab crunch here. It just really deters from the figure. And you can go back about that much. Now the only thing that's kind of frustrating is, because this is a long coat, it does kind of hinder being able to push the legs out that way, but if you do kind of move it to the side, you can kick them out about that much that way, and about that much that way. That's why I kind of wish that they would sort of figure out a different way to do clothes, whether it be cloth with bendy wire or something, but stuff like that, it really makes it frustrating to want to do any type of posing, because you can't do anything other than heating it up and hopefully get it to a place where you'll be happy. Double jointed knees, what do you call it thing? Upper thigh cut, boot cut. Feet can go up that much. Feet can go down that much. And ankle pivots are really good on this guy. Again, as I always say in all my reviews, please warm your figures up before you start posing them so you don't take a chance of busting any of the, what do you call it, any of the articulation joints. And one thing that I'm hoping for, now that we've seen it with the new Lady Deathstrike on the supervillains, is I'm hoping that we eventually start getting rid of these pin joints, because she does not have them, and it makes her look a lot more natural compared to some of these where, you know, like say you get a character that wears like a skirt or something like Moira, for example, and it just looks so weird to see this flesh tone and then all these pins and joints. I'm kind of hoping that they eventually continue to evolve. Now for Shiklah, even with the hair, you can look down that much, and then her head's on a rocker. So if you kind of, ooh, they made a poop. If you bend it out just a little bit, you can get her to look up about that much, which is not too bad. And then again, with the hair, even though it's long, I appreciate that you can still twist the head side to side, and it does have a lot of wiggle room there. Arms can go out that much, and then just like with Deadpool, that way. She does swivel here at the elbow. And again, I can't wait, and we'll hope that they use a different body molds moving forward, but as you can see, single jointed elbow. Hand can go down that much, hand can go up that much. And then her, she doesn't have an ab crunch or anything here at the waist, but everything works here in the rib cage area. So she can look down about that much, go back about that much, and you can twist her side to side. Legs about that far out, but she's one of those older ones that has like that butt flap, so you can't really, well, I'll show you here in a second, you can kick out that far, but because of that butt flap there, you can't really kick back that much, so I'm probably have to warm that up to get around that stupid butt shell, as I call it, because that's frustrating. Now let me know one thing on this for those that own Shiklah. My leg here, super wobbly, and then very loose in the joint. If any of y'all know how to tighten that up, please let me know, because that is irritating the crap out of me. It's not helping with the balance along with these stupid high heels. Now, she does have the upper thigh cut. There goes Deadpool. Double jointed knees, thankfully, and then feet can go up that much. Feet can go down that much. And she kind of has an ankle pivot, but not that much, because I think this is an older body mold, and it shows. This mold is so tiresome. I mean, they've used it on Polaris, they've used it on the Scarlet Witch, just about almost every female character, and I kind of feel like it's time for an upgrade. That's why I'm really liking what they did with Lady Deathstrike. She really had a nice range of motion, and I'm kind of hoping moving forward, since Shiklah had to suffer the old body mold, that she'll get something new. But anyway, articulation for what it is on both these characters, they're at least relatively solid, and you can get some really nice dynamic range out of them. For comparisons, here's a hodgepodge of different figures. Starting off here with this big mamma jamma. This is the Mechatech Hasbro Transformers Dark Side of the Moon Leader Class Sentinel Prime. Here is the old school Playmates Captain Picard. And then, of course, the figures we're going over right now. And then the Lizard Build-A-Figure Wave Marvel Legends Gwenpool. And the sizes are sort of all over the place. I believe Sentinel Prime is somewhere around 10 inches tall, so that is one big mama, and that's still one of my favorite figures. That's why I got two of them, because when you transform into his fire mode, oh, delicious. And of course, I'm a huge TNG fan, so when I saw this Picard, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep it. I don't know if I want the new updated one. I think it was from McFarlane. I'm kind of on the fence about that. And then of course, Gwenpool just looking awesome. I think he's somewhere at 4 1/4. I think these two are somewhere around 6 1/2. And then Gwen, I think, is either sitting at 6 or 5 1/2. Like I said, I don't really measure, I just eyeball. And what I think is great about this setup is the only person that's relatively can come close to size here is Jeff the Land Shark and Picard. That's so funny. I mean, look at where we've come from having, 3 1/4 and 4 1/2 inch figures to all these different size scales. And still, when you look at the legends themselves, Gwen, she sits about the size she should because she's younger. These two are older. Now, one thing I do want to point out when I was talking about the pins and whatnot is, this is supposed to be Gwen's skin. And look at how those pegs in her legs, how they just look so unnatural, instead of making it kind of look like the new Lady Deathstrike, where there's no pins. It looked seamless, and I'm kind of hoping that they eventually evolve, and as Gwen doesn't want to stay and bounce there. But yeah, that looks so unnatural, and when it's just supposed to be skin. So say love you, what are you going to do about it? But anyway, I thought this would be kind of a fun way to just show the whole different skills, the generations that we've had for figures, and poor old Picard's in there just about, sitting Jeff's size, which I think Jeff's only like, maybe 1 or 2 inches tall at most. Anyway, let me know what you think of all of these figures down in the comments, because I still love all of them from all their different years. These figures are actually really fun. I will admit that when it comes to Deadpool comics, I'm very particular. I like when he's more serious. If you want a good one to read in terms of him being a little more serious with that zany feeling to it, make sure to check out the latter half of Gerry Duggan's The Despicable Deadpool. That to me felt like old school Lee-filled Wade Wilson. When he starts to get too jokey and too random, that's when I kind of start to lose interest. And sadly, that was kind of the run where these characters were introduced. Though I may go back and check out the era when he was a pirate, because that looked fun and bloody. And I may check out the latter half of Till Death Do Us, where these two separate, because that looked kind of intense as well. Deadpool for me is just very hit and miss. Let me know what you guys think of him in his comic books. But back to what we're talking about here. These figures are very nice. And when you put them together as a set, as I said at the beginning, it just adds to how fun and the possibilities that you could pose with them. By themselves, not so much. I'd have to really say that these two are a duo that you need to put together. And I'm happy with it. I'm happy for the accessory of Jeff the Land Shark. I just wish you could articulate him. I wish that they hadn't given Shiklah high heels, because every character that has high heels is such a pain. I wish they would have just done a flat, kind of more lifted foot like they did for Lady Deathstrike. That would have made life a lot more easier. But I digress. We'll leave that alone. This, to me, is just a great set, guys. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. If you've enjoyed these figures, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and see if they have them in stock. If not, you can check out the other places that I mentioned at the beginning. And if you've enjoyed this reveal, I really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Deadpool bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and as I said a moment ago, we'd love to hear your feedback and your thoughts down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, photo slideshow coming up next, and thank you so much for stopping by. Hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.